You'll feel it before you understand it. The warmth in their words fades. The laughter that once filled the room now feels forced, and you can't explain why, but your soul already knows something is breaking quietly. Love doesn't vanish overnight. It fades in silence. It disappears in moments too small to notice at first: a sigh, a delay in the reply, a kiss that feels like habit instead of hunger. The person who once looked at you like you were magic begins to look through you, as if your presence no longer fills the space the same way it once did. And that is where it begins, the fading of love, not in chaos, not in fights, but in quiet disconnection. The truth is, when love begins to die, people rarely announce it. They drift slowly. Subtly, they start doing things that tell the story their words will never say out loud. They'll say they're tired. They'll say they're busy, but what they really mean is, my heart is no longer where it used to be. You'll sense it, not because they tell you, but because their energy shifts, their tone softens in all the wrong places. Their eyes don't light up when they see you anymore. And the worst part, you'll question yourself instead. Instead of questioning the distance, you'll wonder what you did wrong. You'll replay conversations. You'll try harder and they'll pull back even more, because once love starts to fade, effort from one side only amplifies the silence from the other. So before you drown in confusion, before you blame yourself, you must learn to recognize the first signs of fading love. They're not loud. They're quiet, calm, and cruelly disguised as normal. And when you begin to see them, you'll understand love doesn't end with a goodbye. It ends with small, invisible goodbyes happening every day. It starts subtly, so subtly that you almost convince yourself it's nothing. They stop asking how your day really was. They listen, but they don't hear. Their responses become shorter, safer, emptier, and you find yourself carrying the weight of conversations that used to flow effortlessly. Emotional distance isn't built overnight. It's layered moment by moment in quiet detachment. You'll notice they're still there physically, but emotionally they're standing miles away. Their body is beside you, but their mind, it's somewhere else, somewhere quieter, somewhere that doesn't involve you as much anymore. You'll feel it in the silence after you share something important, when they used to reach for your hand but now simply nod. You'll feel it in the way they don't look at you when they laugh, in the way their messages lose warmth, in the way they stop remembering the little things that once made you feel seen. And yet, here's the painful truth: you'll start compensating. You'll talk more to fill the gaps. You'll plan surprises, ask questions, give reassurances, all in an effort to close a distance that keeps expanding. But the more you reach, the less they respond, because when love begins to fade, emotional intimacy is always the first to leave. This distance isn't cruelty. It's clarity. It's the soul's way of detaching before the body follows. And if you pay close attention, you'll notice it's not the arguments that hurt the most, it's the indifference. The moment they stop trying to understand you is the moment love begins its quiet exit. And if you ever find yourself standing in that silence, wondering why the connection feels cold, remember this: love cannot survive where curiosity dies. Once they stop being curious about your heart, the bond begins to unravel, because emotional distance doesn't mean hate, it means absence, and absence is the softest, most silent way love says goodbye. Love thrives on effort, the small, intentional gestures that whisper, you matter. But when love starts to fade, that effort quietly disappears, and it doesn't happen with grand announcements. It happens with forgetfulness, with excuses, with I'll do it later. You'll notice it in the absence of small things, the text they used to send just to say good morning, the way they once showed up for you without being asked, the way they used to notice the things that made you smile. Now, everything feels one-sided. You initiate, you plan, you care out loud, and they don't. At first you rationalize it. They're busy, they're tired. It's just a phase. But deep down, you feel the shift, a kind of emotional drought where love once overflowed. They stop trying to make you laugh. They stop asking what you need. And when you express your hurt, they make you feel like you're too sensitive. But listen closely. People protect what they value. When someone stops trying, it's not because they forgot how. It's because their heart no longer feels compelled to. The same person who once went out of their way to make you feel loved now goes out of their way to avoid the effort. And that's the part that breaks you, realizing you can't inspire effort where love has already dimmed. You'll feel yourself trying harder, giving more, hoping that if you love loudly enough, they'll remember. But that's not how it works. Love isn't revived by desperation, it's revived by mutual willingness. But the truth, when love fades, effort becomes selective. They'll still make time for others, they'll still show up where they feel alive, just not where they feel detached. And that's when you learn the most painful kind of loss isn't rejection, it's indifference. It's watching someone stop fighting for what you both built. So if you feel that silence in their effort, don't chase it. Notice it, because recognizing when someone stops trying is the first step toward learning how to start valuing your own worth again. This one hurts differently, not because it's loud, but because it's quiet. It's the kind of detachment that doesn't scream or slam doors. It simply withdraws. It's them being in the same room, but not really there. It's conversations that used to stretch into midnight now ending in a few words and a distracted glance at their phone. Detachment isn't always cruel. Sometimes it's calm, polite, even kind. They'll still ask if you've eaten. They'll still smile. But that smile doesn't reach their eyes anymore. Their warmth feels rehearsed. You can feel the emotional temperature drop even when their words sound the same. It's as if they've built a wall between you, invisible but impenetrable. And every time you try to get close, the wall gets higher. You sense it when you reach out to hug them, and they stiffen slightly before returning it. You notice it when you share something vulnerable, and they respond with silence instead of empathy. And maybe the most heartbreaking part, they don't even seem to notice the distance they're creating, because to them, it's natural now. The love that once made them lean in is gone, and they've adapted to the emptiness. You'll find yourself wondering what changed. When did we stop being us? But there's never a single moment. It's the slow erosion of emotional intimacy, one disconnection at a time. And sometimes detachment doesn't mean they stopped caring entirely. It means they've already started preparing themselves to leave. Their heart exits before their body does. They start saving their energy for a life that doesn't include you, even if they haven't said it out loud yet. So if you feel that distance, that subtle, cold detachment, don't beg for closeness. Don't chase what's pulling away, because you can't rebuild connection with someone who's already emotionally gone. Instead, turn that awareness inward. Ask yourself not why they left, but why you stayed after you felt them slipping away. This is the part where your heart starts whispering the truth, but your mind refuses to listen. You tell yourself it's just a rough patch. That love always ebbs and flows. You cling to the memories, the laughter, the promises, anything that convinces you this silence is temporary. Denial feels like hope wearing a disguise. You keep trying to reignite the flame, to bring back the person they once were. You cook their favorite meal, send sweet messages, plan little surprises, but deep down, you know you're fighting alone. The effort feels heavier, emptier, like watering a flower that's already gone dry. You start explaining their absence to yourself. They're busy with work. They've been stressed lately. You make excuses because the truth feels unbearable, that maybe, just maybe, that their heart isn't in it anymore. And what hurts most, the moments when they still show glimpses of love, a kind word here, a gentle touch there, just enough to keep your heart hanging on. You start living for those crumbs of connection, convincing yourself it's proof that things will get better. But love shouldn't feel like guessing. It shouldn't make you question your worth. Denial protects you. At first, it softens the blow, gives you time to adjust. But if you stay in it too long, it becomes a cage. Because pretending you're okay doesn't heal the ache, it deepens it. You'll smile through the pain, you'll laugh while breaking. You'll tell your friends, we're fine, but your soul will know better. It always does. The truth is, when love fades, your heart feels the absence long before your mind admits it. You'll sense the cold before you see the frost. So stop pretending, stop explaining their indifference as something temporary, because healing starts the moment you stop defending someone's silence and start honoring your own truth. This is where the real battle begins. The war between your heart and your logic. Your heart whispers, maybe it's just a phase, but your mind replies, you've seen the signs. And you stand there torn between fighting for what you once had and freeing yourself from what's already gone. You start living in fragments. Half of you clings to the memories, the way they looked at you like you were their world, the nights you couldn't stop laughing, the warmth of being truly seen. But the other half is drowning in the present reality, the silence, the distance, the empty bed that now feels too big. You replay old moments, searching for where it all went wrong. You rewrite conversations in your head wishing you'd said something different, done something more, because the idea of losing them feels like losing a part of yourself. But here's the truth: when love starts to fade, holding on hurts more than letting go. You can't save what someone no longer wants to protect. You can't breathe life into a connection that's been emotionally abandoned. Yet we try. Oh, how we try, because love makes us believe we can fix anything if we just love harder. But loving harder doesn't heal disconnection. It just exhausts the part of you that's still hoping. Letting go isn't weakness, it's acceptance. It's the moment you realize you deserve to be chosen without begging, loved without conditions, and valued without reminders. And yes, letting go will hurt. It will tear you apart before it sets you free. But one day that pain becomes peace. You'll look back and realize the hardest decision you ever made was also the most loving one for yourself. Because sometimes the bravest act of love isn't staying and fighting for someone else. It's walking away to finally fight for you. There comes a moment, quiet, unplanned, almost sacred, when the truth finally lands, not as a thunderstorm, but as a whisper that pierces your chest. They don't love me the same anymore. It doesn't come during an argument or a dramatic goodbye. It comes on an ordinary day. Maybe you're sitting beside them and realize you've stopped trying to fill the silence. Maybe you send a message and don't even wait for the reply. Or maybe you just look at them and feel nothing. No anger, no desperation, just the heavy calm of understanding. That's the moment your soul catches up with what your heart's been avoiding. And though it hurts, it also frees you. Because truth, even when it breaks you, will always be more merciful than denial. You stop asking why. You stop chasing closure from someone who's already emotionally gone. You stop replaying every detail in your head because now you finally understand it wasn't that you weren't enough. It's that they stopped showing up. And love cannot survive one-sided effort. The realization isn't bitter. It's cleansing. It strips away the illusions, the false hope. That maybe if I try harder, thoughts that have kept you stuck. And in that raw honesty, you begin to see yourself again, not as someone who was unloved, but as someone who kept loving through the storm. The truth may hurt, but it also heals. Because when you finally see things as they are, you stop trying to fix what was never yours to hold. This is where healing quietly begins. Not in their return, not in their apology, but in your acceptance. In that sacred moment when you whisper to yourself, I deserve more than almost love. And from that point forward, every breath, every step, every tear becomes part of your becoming. This is where everything shifts, not because the pain is gone, but because you finally stop letting it control you. You wake up one morning and something inside you feels different, not stronger yet, but steadier. You no longer feel the urge to check your phone. You stop waiting for their message, their apology, their change. You start realizing that silence is also an answer, and one you can finally respect. And choosing yourself isn't about revenge or pride. It's about reclaiming the energy you've been pouring into someone who stopped meeting you halfway. It's saying, I'm done begging for what should have been given freely. You start doing small things again. For you, you go for that walk you kept putting off. You listen to music that once made you cry, and somehow it doesn't hurt as much. You start reconnecting with the parts of yourself that got buried beneath the constant effort to be enough for someone else. This is where you begin to understand that self-love isn't just a buzzword. It's survival. It's looking in the mirror and deciding, I will no longer abandon myself for someone who already left me. And slowly you start breathing again. The air feels lighter. The nights hurt less. You start realizing that healing isn't forgetting. It's remembering without breaking. It's letting the pain exist without letting it define you. The turning point isn't a single moment. It's a series of small choices, choosing peace over chaos, choosing solitude over forced connection, choosing truth over illusion. And every time you choose yourself, you reclaim a little more of your power. Because the most powerful act of love is not loving someone else enough to stay. It's loving yourself enough to finally walk away. Healing isn't glamorous. It's messy. It's raw. It's waking up some days feeling strong and others feeling like you're drowning in memories. It's missing them even after knowing they hurt you. It's forgiving yourself for staying too long and for still caring after it's over. But here's the truth. Healing doesn't happen when the pain stops. It happens when you finally stop running from it. When you sit with the ache and say, I see you, but you don't define me anymore. You start rebuilding piece by piece, not by forgetting them, but by remembering you. You start nurturing your own soul again. You rediscover your voice, your louder, your passions, the parts of you that faded while you were busy trying to keep someone else's love alive. You learn to enjoy your own company, not because you've given up on love, but because you've remembered that you are whole on your own. Healing also means forgiving yourself for everything you did while trying to be loved, for overextending, for silencing your needs, for loving people who couldn't meet you where you were. You begin to understand that your softness wasn't weakness. It was courage. Loving deeply is never the mistake. Staying where love no longer lives is. And as you grow, something beautiful happens. You stop needing closure from them. Because healing gives you your own closure, the peace that comes from knowing you did your best. You loved with honesty, and you survived something that once tried to break you. This is the part where you rise quietly, not to prove a point, not to show strength, but because your heart finally remembers its own worth. And when you look back, you'll realize losing them wasn't the ending. It was the beginning of coming home to yourself. There comes a moment after the tears, after the silence, after the aching emptiness, when you finally understand that the pain wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken you. The person who once made you feel small taught you how to stand tall. The love that once broke you taught you what unconditional love for yourself truly means. And the ending you thought would ruin you became the beginning of your rebirth. You stopped chasing closure because you realized you were never incomplete, just temporarily lost in someone else's shadow. You stop looking back, not because it doesn't hurt anymore, but because you've learned that growth and grief can coexist. You can miss them and still move forward. You can remember them and still choose peace. This is what turning pain into power looks like. It's not revenge. It's not indifference. It's peace. It's walking away without bitterness. It's saying, thank you for teaching me how to love myself better. You no longer crave validation. You no longer shrink yourself to be chosen. You begin to glow differently, not from their love, but from your own healing. And people notice. Your silence becomes strength. Your boundaries become your new language. Your peace becomes your superpower. And one day, when love finds you again, it won't feel like rescue. It'll feel like recognition. You'll meet someone who doesn't require you to fight for the love you deserve because it will flow naturally, effortlessly, honestly. But until then, remember this: losing someone who stopped loving you isn't your tragedy. It's your transformation. You didn't lose them. You found you. So hold your head high, take a deep breath, and step forward, because this right here is not the end of the part where you rise stronger, wiser, and beautifully untouchable. And that, my friend, is what it means to turn heartbreak into freedom.